Tonight on Cougar News, we see how students can combat stress for their upcoming finals.
COC alumni got together to raise money for a special cause.
And we say a farewell to a beloved COC staff member who is retiring this year. Cougar News starts now.
This is Cougar News.
Hello everyone and welcome to Cougar News. I'm Sophia Lesseos.
And I'm Sophia Lesseos, and here's the latest from the Cougar Newsroom. Most people see the end of the year as a time to be merry, but in the shadows of twinkling lights are those who struggle to feel the holiday joy. A shed light on a mental health battle fought silently each year.
Some describe these fall and winter months as the most wonderful time of the year. But for many others, it's not the case. Seasonal affective disorder, or seasonal depression, takes effect when the weather begins to change, and it hits home for many of us. Larry Schaller expands more on the effect that takes place for people who may suffer from SAD.
This can be a real problem. They're not getting enough sunlight, their circadian rhythms are off, their serotonin levels are off, so things happen biologically to people during this time.
Seasonal affective disorder is hard to maintain during a time of the year meant for joy, celebration, and togetherness. Vincent Lara and Jed Bookout shared their testimonies of their trials of this season.
Like for me, seasonal depression is just the feeling of having an expectation to feel a certain way during the seasons when in truth you don't. Like it's all about the commercials like, hey, be happy, be looking forward to all of it, be looking for like memories to make when in reality sometimes you just don't want to feel that way.
I think the biggest misconception with seasonal depression is most people don't understand depression. Most people have that kind of fallacy in mind that depression is just being sad about something. That constant talk that people have, like, oh, you just need to man up, you need to stop crying about it. It's not quite that simple, and I feel like the misconception drags into seasonal depression too, because most people, I wager, that are suffering from any kind of seasonal disorder don't even realize that they're suffering from it.
Seasonal depression can really weigh some of us down during the holidays, but it's important to gain understanding and be aware of our resources. If you're a student in need of help, contact a counselor at the Health and Wellness Center. For Cougar News, I'm Leah Rossell.
The fall semester is coming to a close, and with that comes final exams. Cougar News reporter Michael Estrada took a measurement of how students are preparing for these tough tests.
You could tell finals are coming when this lively campus starts looking like a ghost town. Students are either at home or in the library studying for their upcoming tests. Finals can be scary. Sometimes passing or failing comes down to just that one exam. So some students are sharing how they prepare.
I've done more study groups, if anything. It's helped me a lot because I know for a fact, or not necessarily a fact, it reinforces what you know already and helps someone else, but as well it helps you out with what they know and what you know. So it's kind of it's a bit like a loop in a way where it reinforces me to what I know already because I'm teaching someone else or helping them understand it more, and then it helps me as well for when they understand a topic I don't, I can learn from them as well.
Personally, when I write something, I remember it. So just physically writing it down helps. And then just like before the test, or like real quick, just go through them, then it's like all fresh. But just physically writing stuff down helps me remember.
In order to better retain information and reduce stress levels, it is recommended to take a 10-minute break for every hour of studying, as well as reduce the amount of caffeine in your diet and getting energy from other natural foods. A change of scenery might also help, as some people like being alone in the library, while others like being together in study groups or even being outdoors. Find out what works for you and ace those tests. For Cougar News, I'm Mike Estrada.
Stress and college courses go hand in hand at times. Cougar News reporter Luis Villa takes a look at how officials on campus are working to lift the burden of everyday pressures.
As the fall semester comes to a close for colleges across the U.S., Students all over the nation are faced with one of their arch nemesis, finals.
Students get stressed this time of year for a variety of reasons, primarily because this is finals time.
But surprisingly enough, stress can also come from a more unexpected place this time of the year.
At the same time, people are also dealing with holiday stress, but also sometimes holiday blues.
With all these factors working against students, some may not know where to turn to for help. Thankfully, they have free access to the services at the Student Health and Wellness Center.
We'll have counseling, we have licensed therapists here, we have interns, so we have a place where people can come and talk about whatever's going on with them.
But for many people, taking the first step to getting help can often be the hardest.
There's also a stigma attached to actually getting counseling. So people tend to, I don't have a problem that's bad enough.
However, there's also a way for students to alleviate their stress on campus that's a little more creative.
Our pianos, our wonderful pianos. It's a great way to relax and also to focus in a different way.
The pianos are available to anyone who happens to pass by them, perfect for students walking from class to class.
For me, it kind of distresses because I'm doing a math class, so it's pretty fun just to go play on the piano, just to relax.
So if you're ever feeling stressed and see a piano on campus, don't be shy and go slap some keys. For Cougar News, I'm Luis Villa.
It was the ultimate night of giving back as COC's alumni united to raise money to a special cause. Cougar News reporter Ashley Bautista shines a spotlight on how a group is paying it forward to those entering their first year of higher education.
Games, popcorn, beer, and alumni all come together to help raise money for COC's first annual Pint Night at the Wolf Creek Brewery. Pint Night was created to help with College of the Canyons' First Year Promise.
First Year Promise, the College of the Canyons Foundation committed to raising $500,000 to put 500 students through First Year Promise. The First Year Promise program is an amazing program that our student services administrators put together. Dr. Jasmine Rice was very influential, and they put together a program that would help qualified students get through their first year, because they know that the first year for a college student is the most critical.
Some alumni in attendance talked about their experiences at COC.
Grew up on the campus because my mom worked there for 35 years. She started working in the Early Childhood Education Center and retired last year as a dean. So all of my memories are of being at COC, so it was kind of like going home. But I loved being there. I loved how convenient it was.
You know, College of the Canyons, it's this amazing community here in Santa Clarita. I can't say enough about the school, the professors, the other students that I met there, the faculty and staff together, I think make this really welcoming community that gives you the support that you need to sort of push through and get it done so that you can go on to transfer and you can go on to do what it is you really want to do. So I think it's that community and that support system that College of the Canyons really provides.
All in all, I think we can all agree that being a part of such a great school is an awesome feeling, and becoming an alumni has its benefits. Be on the lookout next year for the second annual COC Alumni Pint Night. For Cougar News, I'm Ashley Bautista.
Hey Leah, have you heard what's going on in Russia?
I haven't, but let's take it to Elena Thacker for what's trending.
Thank you. Ahead of this weekend's G20 summit, Russia is facing international scrutiny. This comes after firing on and seizing 3 Ukrainian warships. The attack comes during a time of rising tensions in the Kerch, straight near the former Ukrainian province of Crimea. That area was seized by Russia in 2014. Russian officials claim the attack was made to protect a bridge the country started building earlier this year. Ukraine and its allies have condemned the attack and demand Russia return the warships, including U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley. Since the attack, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko has declared a 30-day martial law for the country. Homeowners in California have a lot to be thankful for this season. Both of the major wildfires burning in the state were fully contained. The Woolsey Fire in Southern California reached 100% containment earlier in the week. In Northern California, the record-breaking and deadly Camp Fire reached the same milestone on Sunday. Holiday shoppers may be changing the way they buy gifts. New research shows that despite record-breaking sales, overall visits to brick-and-mortar retailers were down by over 5% on Black Friday. Most of the reported spending gains came from online sales, where websites like Amazon reported nearly $8 billion spent on Cyber Monday alone. This is consistent with long-term industry trends, which have shown declining retail numbers for the past 4 years. And that's what's trending. I'm Elena Thacker. For more stories in and around the Santa Clarita Valley, visit us at cougarnews.com. Sophia, back to you.
Thank you, Elena. A local business is celebrating a milestone after being honored by State Senator Scott Wilk. Reporter Elena Thacker takes us inside one of Santa Clarita's longtime mom-and-pop shops.
24/7 Events in Santa Clarita is the November local business recognized by State Senator Scott Wilk, who has felt the frustration of the little guys being unrecognized by Sacramento.
So yeah, small business is the backbone of the American economy. 1/2 of all workers are employed by a small business. It takes entrepreneurial spirit to be able to delve in and try to build a business here in California.
Once a month, Wilk honors one small business in the Santa Clarita Valley. He looks at these awards as an opportunity to encourage businesses and remind them to persevere.
The criteria is be in business at least 3 years, and with 24/7, we're 16 years. Be in good standing in the community, but then also give back to others.
Rob and his sister Stacy were very appreciative of the recognition for their small business.
It is a lot of affirmation on our journey as a small business that's really looking to grow and serve our client base. Just to know that we're on the right path a little bit, and the recognition I think means so much especially when it's a family-owned business, and it's really a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get something like this going and to maintain it.
Cruikshank and Wilk have some words of encouragement and advice for small businesses locally and nationally.
Keep pressing forward, pursue your dream. I mean, the most important thing in life is pursuing your passion. I think most people who are in business, that's what they've determined what their passion is.
I would just say keep going. Every day, there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days. The bad days actually define you, in my opinion, and how you take those bad days and you show your employees that you're willing to do what it takes to overcome it and still survive another day, and you will come out at the end. So I would just say keep fighting the good fight.
Keep an eye out for which local business will be honored next month. For Cougar News, I'm Elena Thacker.
Students at COC got a behind-the-scenes look at how political campaigns are ran. At a panel discussion hosted by the Political Science Department, campaign managers and media staffers from the Katie Hill and Christy Smith campaigns discussed what it takes to win an election and get their candidate into office. They highlighted the importance of tailoring campaigns to a local audience and creating relationships with individual voters. And with the election fresh in people's minds, the discussion drew in a large audience.
The title of the panel was called Peeking Behind the Curtain. The idea was to give people an opportunity, students, faculty, and staff, the opportunity to see what a campaign looks like from the inside. I mean, as citizens, what we see is we see the product of a campaign. This was the opportunity to see how that product was made.
Are you tired of dealing in long lines at the mall for holiday shopping and want to try something new? Valencia High School hosted a fall boutique last weekend. Alondra Lopez tells us how students are giving some holiday cheer.
The fall boutique took place at Valencia High School last weekend with over 85 unique vendors. This boutique happens year-round, and it's a good opportunity for students and locals in Santa Clarita to buy gifts, clothes, holiday season decorations, and accessories.
We're trying to replace puppy mill pet shops, and these are actually shelter dogs. A lot of them come from Castaic and Thousand Oaks and other rescues. So we just try to find them homes and put them in a stable place and make sure they get all the love and caringness that they deserve, right?
Shelter Hope aims to remove puppy mill pet shops across the United States and to give these animals a loving home. If you can adopt full-time, this nonprofit shop allows volunteers to foster their dogs for a day or night.
Been doing this for, we're going to guess, about 25 years. And met Nancy. She is my son-in-law's aunt. So that's how she...
Sharon Zizi and Nancy Overfist have had their boutique running together for over 25 years. Sharon met Nancy at her Mission Hills House Boutique and branched out to Valencia and Saugus High School. What's special about these items is that they are homemade.
Yeah, well, our main goal is to try to make new and different items each year. We still have what we call the classics that sell so well, like Nancy's lanterns, but you've got to add new, kind of with the times. Always looking for new patterns. I like to do the sewing. She likes the wood part.
For Nancy and Sharon, it's more than just a job. It's a friendship and a special bond that they enjoy doing together.
If you want to visit the Holiday Boutique, it's on December 7th and 8th at the Valencia High School campus. For Cougar News, I'm Alondra Lopez.
Main Street really shines Saturday at the Light Up Main Street event. Valeria Vasquez enlightens us on downtown Newhall's Winter Wonderland.
This Saturday, downtown Newhall is full of people, food, music, and most importantly, lights.
Live performances, food trucks, and Santa Claus himself are just a few highlights from the Light Up Main Street event in downtown Newhall, hosted by the City of Santa Clarita.
I heard about it on Facebook. Under the events, I saw it on my feeds. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. First time I've ever been, and I think it's a great idea to get the community together and start off the holidays, especially everything going on in the world. I think it's a great thing, and I'm really excited for it. And I can't wait to come back next year.
Oh, it's great. A lot of food, a lot of people. They have a lot of stuff for for the kids to do, and also all the new restaurants and stuff. This area has really changed.
There are reindeer, snow, and elves in the streets for children to enjoy, and local vendors for parents to buy from. But it all led up to the highly anticipated Main Street tree lighting at the end of the night. For Cougar News, I'm Valeria Vasquez.
December is just days away, and holiday events are here once more. Cougar News reporter Erin Landon takes us to the Festival of Trees to celebrate the season.
Santa Clarita residents were gearing up for a jolly holiday season with the 16th annual Festival of Trees. With presents, Christmas trees, boutiques, gingerbread houses, and dancing, there's no better way to celebrate the holidays.
We have full-size trees, tabletop trees, gingerbread houses. They're all put together by designers, people from the community. It's amazing to see the creativity. It's a great event for families.
What's more, proceeds from gingerbread houses and Christmas trees go directly to the Boys and Girls Club, which helps the children of SCV strive for success.
So the Boys and Girls Club, we're an after-school program. We're helping over 5,000 local Santa Clarita children realize their full potential by supporting their academic success, providing a second home, and helping build them into leaders. And it's a fun place to be when school's out, the club's in. The Festival of Trees is one of our annual fundraisers. It's become the signature event to kick off the holidays in Santa Clarita. My favorite part about this event is seeing everybody come together. Hundreds of people come from the community that get to experience it, and it's just positive all around. The people who put together are having fun, the people who get to experience it are having fun, and then it's all for a good cause so that the kids have a safe place to be after school every day.
If you missed this year, be sure to check out the Festival of Trees next year if you're looking to show some holiday spirit. From all of us at Cougar News, have a happy holidays.
Coming up next on Cougar News, the season finale of Cougar Review.
And a send-off to College of the Canyons' own Ron Entrikin.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks donors to schedule an appointment to give now. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. Your blood donation is critical and can help save lives. Please, schedule an appointment today. Download the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. You can make a difference.
They've been very caring. They care about every single student that's in the class.
Yeah, everyone seems to be pretty friendly with each other. No one's really afraid to ask each other for help. working with other people, not being ornery, actually listening to what people say, collaborating with them to create a really good product.
It's great to use the same stuff the pros use, especially at a community college.
Hopefully we give them a pathway to have their creativity showcased.
I've gotten a great education.
I love the access to equipment.
I've made lifelong friendships.
I have great teachers.
This is Cougar News.
COC students had an otherworldly encounter as they watched NASA's latest probe touchdown on the Martian surface at an event on campus. Reporter Bobby Block takes us to the final frontier to explore this scientific mission.
Touchdown confirmed.
NASA's InSight lander touched down on the surface of Mars Monday afternoon after nearly 7 months traveling in space. It was designed to study Martian geology and provide insights on the formation of Mars and other rocky planets, including the Earth.
The goal is to map the inside of Mars and see if there is fluid magma like we have inside of the Earth, check if we can find maybe pockets of liquid water, because as we know, that would be huge for possibility of life on Mars.
The mission is notable for being the first interplanetary spacecraft launched from California, taking off from Vandenberg Air Force Base in May of this year. Students at COC had the opportunity to watch the landing at an event hosted in the Makerspace Lab in the Student Center. However, the event was just one of many ways that students interested in space exploration could get involved.
We have our own student team here that designs and builds payloads that fly on NASA platforms. We compete against universities for those spots. And a lot of that design happens here in the makerspace. We sent up experiments on a high altitude student platform on a balloon that goes to about 125,000 feet above the Earth to the upper stratosphere in an attempt to collect cosmic dust.
As the event wrapped up, the lander sent back its first image from the Martian surface, a view that someday a College of the Canyons alum may see in person. For Cougar News, I'm Bobby Block.
The connection between modern and Pompeian society was bridged at the Performing Arts Center at COC. Reporter Al Charles Castillo shows us how archaeologists are bringing the story of Pompeii to life.
It was just a way of, I want to share some of the graffiti that we said. It was a way for politics to get their name out, things like that. But some of the graffiti, most of it was quite vulgar. For example, was, Virgula to Teritas, you're a dirty old man.
The Pompeii Life and Art presentation at the PAC Center gave students and faculty more information of the lost world. Kevin Anthony was one of the keynote speakers of the event and defined the similarity between Pompeii and the current life we live.
And in the footsteps of Mark Twain, I'd like to say the real question for me when I look at these towns is, who were these people?
I would like them to think about the people of Pompeii and compare us to who they were, what were their lives like, and then we get a better focus on who we are and what we're doing.
Michael McCaffrey was the second keynote speaker of the night and painted a better picture of the impact Pompeian art had on modern arts.
To your very seat. As Johns understands it, pictures are everywhere. And this is the hallmark not only of our society and us as modern people, it's also the hallmark of art in ancient Pompeian society, who, like us, consider themselves to be modern.
Obvious similarities between the way in which Pompeian art appears in different levels and different, if you like, strata of society, in much the same way as art flourishes today. You know, most of the things we make, which we call art nowadays, are not really paintings and traditional things.
For Cougar News, I'm Al Charles Castillo.
What classics are you reading this chilly season? Kate Malloy shares with us some of her favorites sitting on the shelf.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Malloy, and I'm here with an edition of What's Good on the Shelf. It's November, and that means that winter break is coming up. There's no better way to spend the chilly holidays than cozying up to a good book. Nothing beats classics. They're called classic for a reason. Literature never gets old. It is our record for history. It is our voice. I am going to share with you some of my favorite American and British literature classics. First off, we have the winner of the Great American Read, Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. You've all read this one in school. This story is told from the perspective of adult Jean Louise, who in the story is known as Scout, and she is reminiscing of her childhood days growing up in Macomb County, Alabama, with her brother Jem.
Don't you remember me, Mr. Cunningham? I'm Jean Louise Finch.
She comes from a white family, and her father Atticus is a lawyer and defending a black man. This story is filled with mystery, suspense, and who can forget the cute little romance between Scout and Dill. Next on our list is a famous British literature classic, Pride and Prejudice. Written by Jane Austen, the story is about a young lady named Elizabeth Bennet. Taking place during the Georgian era, her mother pushes her to marry.
You will have this house. I can't marry you. And save your sisters from destitution. You cannot make me.
When Elizabeth meets Mr. Darcy, a seemingly snobbish man of wealth,
He's so rich.
She cannot tolerate him. They eventually flip and start developing feelings for one another. Love is complicated.
Why do you ask such a question?
To make out your character, Mr. Darcy.
And what have you discovered?
Very little.
Last on our list, we have F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby. Don't we all wish we can live in the lavish 1920s? Fitzgerald does an excellent job at painting the image of the Roaring 20s. The use of imagery and color is spectacular. It tells the story of Nick Carraway and his cousin Daisy Buchanan. Daisy, the girl who Jay Gatsby longs to be with. The book leaves it up to the readers to decide if Daisy and Gatsby's love was real or just a fantasy.
Is all this made entirely from your own imagination?
That's all for What's Good on the Shelf. I'm Kate Malloy, reminding you to fill that shelf for the winter holiday. After all, Dr. Seuss once said, you can find magic wherever you look. Sit back and relax. All you need is a book.
The creator of an iconic animation series has passed away. Kate Malloy tells us more.
Thank you, guys. It's a sad day for the fans of the hit children's show SpongeBob SquarePants. Creator Steven Hillenburg passed away Monday at age 57 due to complications of ALS. Hillenburg announced his illness in Variety magazine in 2017. He stated, however, that he would continue working on the popular Nickelodeon show as long as he was able. He majored in marine biology with a minor in art from Humboldt University before attending Cal Arts in Santa Clarita. Using his experience as a marine biologist, he brought the sea-talking sponge to life in 1999. 19 years, 12 seasons, and over 200 episodes later, children and adults reminiscing on a simpler time can appreciate the zany humor of the vastly popular cartoon. So thank you, Steven Hillenburg, for letting us travel to Bikini Bottom to find out who lives in a pineapple under the sea. If you're looking for a new movie to get excited for in 2019, Riverdale actor Cole Sprouse is set to take the lead role in the upcoming film 5 Feet Apart. 5 Feet Apart tells the story of Stella and Will, two teens diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. Haley Lou Richardson plays Stella, the patient who follows the rules and organizes med cards for fun during her spare time. Then you have Will, the patient who breaks the rules, and artist Rebel, played by Sprouse. At first, Stella cannot tolerate his presence, but eventually a romance blossoms. What's keeping them apart? Their shared illness. Grab your tissues, because it is to be released everywhere in theaters spring 2019, or read the book beforehand, written by Rachel Lippincott.
It is nearing the end of the semester and the year 2018. This semester was my first year hosting Cougar Review, and I've learned a lot about myself and what I love in films. For a celebratory cheer, let's round up 3 of my favorite movies from this year that I haven't talked about yet. I'm Emily Mahler. Let's get started. In October, we were blessed with Bradley Cooper's directorial debut, A Star is Born, a fresher take on a repeated story. Lady Gaga flies through this film showing every piece of herself, literally. This is a love story between 2 musicians, one rise to fame and one's demise. It is so emotional and raw, it keeps me coming back in for a rewatch or a soundtrack listen. Oscars will definitely be handed out to Gaga and Cooper. In what category? I say all. Another wonderful directorial debut I have been following for months before its release was Boots Riley's Sorry to Bother You. This movie blew me away in every way. I was so speechless from start to finish. The cast, including Tessa Thompson, Stephen Young, and Lakeith Stanfield, take an alternate version of Oakland and switch it on its head. Telemarketing is not always what it seems, a scam. A movie near and dear to my heart is Love, Simon. Based on the popular teen novel Simon vs. the Homo sapiens Agenda, the film follows Simon, a closeted gay teenager trying to keep his sexuality a secret because he believes his great life will go down in the dumps if it comes out. I have seen this film a good 10 times, and it makes me emotional and sometimes nostalgic as I am a part of the LGBT community. Thank you all for watching. I'm Emily Mahler, and this is Cougar Review. Hope to see you next year.
That's a wrap for entertainment. Visit us online at cougarnews.com for more on art and local happenings. I'm Kate Malalay. Back to you, Sophia.
Thank you, Kate and Emily. Many people are left with questions after viewing a film, but only few are willing to find the answers. Reporter Patrick Pompeii introduces us to a group that discusses and analyzes various films.
A popular Netflix series, Black Mirror, was featured as the topic of discussion for the episode titled San Junipero at last week's Society on Screen and Film discussion series.
Oh yeah, good call. We do have So Society on Screen is a project that Miguel Chavez and I created a couple of months ago to tie film screenings to educational outcomes.
In association with TLC, Society on Screen discuss meaningful topics that cater to students in their studies while offering a different perspective.
This one that we just showed, San Junipero, we saw this semester that there's a lot of prompts dealing with identity and stereotyping, lots of things that this episode of Black Mirror touches on.
If you're in need of another resource on your next prompt, keep an eye out for Society on Screen's next film discussion. For Cougar News, I'm Patrick Pompeii.
Cameron McRae is a young star for Golden Valley boys basketball team. In his varsity debut last Monday versus Arcadia, McRae performed very well and stood out as one of the stars of the night. Although with an unfortunate loss, McRae made his presence known.
Cameron McRae, Golden Valley High School's newest sophomore basketball star, makes his debut for varsity this season. McRae has been standing out with his dominant outside scoring that has helped his offense thus far within the first 2 games of the season.
Just on playing as a team and getting everyone involved and making sure everyone was there mentally and so we can all play together well and get a win.
McRae takes time to talk about how his coach has guided him through this journey to being a sophomore superstar.
Coach Keys, the head coach, he helped me through all these practices in the morning, at night. He was really there for me, and he guided me through this journey.
Cameron also talks about the pressure and his coach's expectation for him in this season.
I don't feel pressure, but I know the coaches expect high things of me, and the pressure is more just showing them how good I can be on the court.
With McRae being a shining star, he is the one to look out for in high school basketball. For Cougar News, I am Candace Williams. For more on this, visit www.cougarnews.com and visit all our local media websites.
Ron Incherkin, a professor at COC and an important member of Cougar News family, is retiring after 17 years of teaching. I had the opportunity to sit down with students and staff to talk about their memories with Ron. Ron Incherkin is a media and arts professor at College of the Canyons for over 17 years. He has been a huge impact on many of the faculty and staff, and most of all, his students. Jonathan Stratton is a cage worker and student at College of the Canyons that works with Ron.
My first impression with Ron was he knew what he was talking about, and if he didn't, he would find it out. He didn't sugarcoat anything, which was great for learning. I came in with no information, no knowledge, and I really wanted to know the subject, and he definitely kicked my butt into knowing it.
Will Davison is a student at College of the Canyons and has known Ron for over 10 years.
The things that he taught me the most wasn't necessarily, say, equipment or gear. It was how to operate around in the business and how to talk to people, how to work with your coworkers, when to kiss somebody off, when to kiss their ass, when and how to work in situations, and then how to get things done when you're struggling with them.
Candace Williams, a student at COC, has had Ron for over 4 years as a teacher.
He is one of the most helpful teachers that we have here. If you have a question about anything with the cameras or how to set up, he's one of the most helpful professors I've seen on this campus. Him and Dave have made the process of being a film major and a journalist rather smoothly, even in bumpy times.
Dave Brill and Ron Inchikrin have been friends for almost 20 years and feel like they're almost brothers.
Ron is an international man of mystery. No, I joke about that, but he's actually a very interesting guy. Ron is, I would say, a combination of someone who's very academic and also very nerdy in that engineering sense. I think it's been great just getting to know Ron, because you can talk to him about a variety of subjects, and I think that's what his students appreciate about him, is that he has a tendency to kind of know a little bit about a lot of things.
Ron shares a little more insight on what it was like to be a teacher.
One of the things that really drove me to this was storytelling. Came from a family that firmly believed in storytelling, was firmly active in community involvement, and one of the things I could do is tell a story through pictures. I've always said to most of my classes, I'm going to learn as much or more from you than you are from me. I'm really sorry I didn't take the time really to get to know you better, to get to know you personally. I'm sorry that sometimes it was only 3 months. I mean, just as you get comfortable with somebody, they're gone.
We really hope you enjoy retirement. Thank you so much for teaching at College of the Canyons. You were an inspiration to all of us. For Cougar News, I'm Sophia Lesseos. And that does it for this edition of Cougar News. I'm Sophia Lesseos. Remember to catch us on the web at cougarnews.com.
And I'm Leo Rasil. You can also send us news tips and story ideas to our Twitter handle, COC_Cougar News, and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
We end on a happy note with a photo of one of our long-standing leaders, Ron Inchikrin.
We hope you enjoy your retirement, Ron.
Have a good night, everybody.